Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus Reports. Today is April 3rd, 2024, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there? This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host. It is April. That is the month where the NFL draft comes through. April 25th, I believe, is the date. I cannot wait. And there's a lot of speculation about some trades to go down in reference to the draft. So I'm going to have to start working on my draft number 2.0. Hopefully, I'll have that out for you next week.
I heard a speculation, and I said Ben would freak if this happened.
And that would be?
Marvin Harrison Jr. dropping to the Giants.
So here's the deal with that. And you're right, I would freak. But here's that. The big deal is now, we've been talking about how they're pumping up these certain quarterbacks, JJ McCarthy specifically, and kind of forgetting about some other quarterbacks, not really talking about them too much, like Michael Penix. They're doing the same thing with receivers now. All of a sudden, Malik Neighbors is as good as, if not better, than Marvin Harrison Jr. All of a sudden, this just happened within the last 2 weeks. Now, I mean, combine's over. Harrison didn't even go to the combine. Well, he was there, but he didn't work out. Neighbors' pro day is over. Harrison didn't even do his pro day. I don't know where this is coming from. These teams, they will leak stuff and they'll put false narratives out to try to stimulate movement or changes in thought processes with other teams. So this is really a great time. This is a great time for the NFL.
Great time for the NFL. We also had the kickoff of the UFL, which kicked off this past weekend. So let's jump on our page real quick, Benny, because I wanted to share just a little bit about this. And what made this even so much more fun for me is that this was one of our first posts, which combined kind of the regular media with some AI stuff. So I'm going to quickly run through this synopsis here of week 1 in the UFL. So apparently, the Birmingham Stallions, Michigan Panthers, San Antonio Brahmas, and Memphis Showboats won their games. The Renegades, the Battlehawks, the DC Defenders, and the Houston Roughnecks lost out. Now, Ben, the kicker for the Panthers kicked a 64-yard winner, game winner. It was his first field goal attempt since high school.
What? Wait, this guy didn't play college ball?
He didn't kick. If he did, I don't know that much, but he didn't kick. It says since high school. All right. West Hill. West Hill
here
was, huh?
Could we be witnessing another Brandon Aubrey? And I forgot about Brandon Aubrey. Similar story. The kicker for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Was playing soccer. Yeah, he played soccer in college. Did not kick on the football team. So we have a similar story. But the thing is, would this guy kick a 64-yarder?
Yeah.
They said his agent's phone has been blowing up.
But and let me tell you, that was in crunch time. Now that wasn't just any, kickoff just from the, getting, that was crunch time right there.
Right.
Walk off stuff.
Wow.
Wes Hills, who was the USFL's leading rusher last season, picked up 85 yards on 11 carries with a 7.7 yards per carry in week 1. So we got to keep an eye out for Wes Hills because he was the #1 rusher. If he's the #1 rusher, I keep thinking, why isn't he in the NFL? if he was the #1 rusher. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Next up, Kai Nakua. That name sound familiar?
Don't tell me
Michigan,
this guy's related to Puka.
Michigan standout defender led the league in tackles during week 1 with 11 tackles, including a sack in their victory. He has 3 younger brothers who also play football, all of whom are wide receivers. Samson Nakua, current teammate with the Michigan Panthers, Puka Nakua with the Rams, and Tay Nakua with a letter of intent to play at BYU next year.
Wow, there's another one.
The Nakuas are thick, man.
I'm telling you.
So he's the older brother playing in the UFL and playing defense. Standout tackler. That's awesome. Now, apparently they're saying that the USFL teams had the edge against the former XFL teams with wins by the Stallions and the Panthers. So far the USFL is having a little bit of a better in the key matches against former XFL teams.
We'll see how that goes as the season plays on.
Yeah. I mean, they set it up for us, to keep an eye on that, see how that works out. The Birmingham Stallions on a roll. They're 22-3 in spring football over the last 3 years. The last professional team to do that was the Chiefs in 2019 to 2021. 22-3. So we know who the powers with.
They are no doubt the class of the league.
We shall see how this goes from this point on. Then the Brahmas punter, Brad Wayne, tossed a 40-yard touchdown pass to their center, Alex Millette, during the upset win over the defenders. And what happened, now I don't know how their rules go, but Alex Millette was lined up in the tight end position, although he is normally the center. So he was in an eligible position. And
okay.
Yeah. Nice pass. I mean, my man was wide open. So that play worked out real well. You got Renegades wide receiver Isaiah Winstead with a 51-yard score, making it the longest play in week 1. And the Stallions rushed for a total of 183 yards, 77 yards on the ground from their quarterbacks, Matt Corral and Adrian Martinez. So that's just a quick rundown. And again, you can go to Ben and Barry on football and see the UFL top 10 plays that we have posted there. So that set up week 1, man. I got to watch a little bit of it. I even got to watch a little bit of the explanation. Again, they're still talking about the new NFL kickoff rules and how it's similar and then it's just slightly different than what they're doing in the UFL. So
yeah.
The one difference, for example, understand the NFL has 2 returners where UFL has 1.
The XFL and the USFL, both of their kickoff rules were slightly different. When they started talking about changing the rule for the NFL, they seemed like they were leaning toward the way XFL was doing it, but they weren't going to copy it exactly. So now at this point, I have no clue because the UFL is different too.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wait. We may have to wait until training camp or preseason before we actually see how this thing's going to really play out.
Preseason should be interesting. I can't wait for preseason.
The good thing is we're going to see some returns because teams will be penalized now for kicking the ball into the end zone, which was a regular thing last season.
Absolutely. All right, Benny, let's get to the big news of the day here. I mean, this is on every station. It's the big news. It kind of came out of nowhere. Stefon Diggs being traded to the Texans, the Houston Texans. And this is what the new Texans offense is going to kind of look like so far. CJ Stroud, Joe Mixon, Dalton Schultz, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell. Now, Ben, that's got to do something for your fantasy heart there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. First of all, I had several teams take a hit when Tank Dell went down with an injury.
Really?
And the crazy thing is, I kind of got him on a whim when I noticed CJ was starting to pick up steam, and Nico Collins was still a free agent in some leagues. So at the beginning of the season, people weren't that high on CJ Stroud. He kind of, you know what I mean? He started building up steam as the season went on. And the people that jumped on the bandwagon quickly, it paid off for them. I was one of them. Got me a chip. But now Dell comes back. Nico's the number one receiver. Well, excuse me, Nico was the number one
Was the
receiver.
number one receiver.
Now he's 1B.
1B.
Because Nico ain't no joke. Okay. And here comes Stephon.
The only questions is going to be was how diva-ish is Stephon going to be in this new environment?
Well, we've seen this a million times, and it always kills me when it's an athlete on a team I like. It usually happens with the Sixers, but you see a guy play a certain way or be a certain way when he's here in Philadelphia, and then as soon as he gets traded, released, whatever, he goes somewhere else, and he's a model citizen. Okay, so I would not be surprised. Also, we're talking about Coach McDermott as opposed to Coach Ryans. Okay, so I think that's going to make a difference too. And he's not going to be able to cry for the ball like he did in Buffalo. In Buffalo, he cried for the ball. They had to look around and go, you know what? He's right. We do have to get the ball to him. But now he ain't going to be able to get away with that.
Okay. All right.
They have too many other viable options. They will never be able to load the box, so Joe Mixon should have a career year. Who's going to load the box on these guys? You can't do it. When they come out in 3 receiver set, there's no way. I don't care if it's a running down or not. You can't do it.
And I don't think they're afraid to throw to their tight end either.
They love Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz was good with the Cowboys.
You know? So this is going to be very interesting to see how this works out.
I'm going to say this right now. The Houston Texans are not playing around. They're making a run at the Super Bowl right now, this year.
That's what you got to do.
They're making a deep playoff run right now. They're going for it.
Yeah,
they feel like they got the quarterback that can do it. He's still on his rookie deal. This is when you do it. This is how you build an NFL winner. This is how it's done.
Yeah, it starts with that fortunate pick, that quarterback pick, and then you can afford to put some serious talent around them for at least a year or two. You know, so all right. Congrats to the Texans. This looks like a potentially awesome situation there for the Texans.
The Bills received a 2025 second-round pick from the Texans that they got through the Minnesota Vikings, who swapped, I think, the 23rd pick in the draft with the Vikings and the Texans.
All right, well, okay. Go
they
ahead.
Also they gave up Stephon Diggs and a 2024 sixth-round pick and a 2025 fifth-round pick. The Bills gave that to the Texans along with the player. The Texans only gave them a second-round pick. That's the big news. That's what makes this deal ugly on the Bills' part. That's how bad they wanted to get Stephon Diggs out of Buffalo. They couldn't even get a pick this year in this year's draft for him.
You know, interestingly, and we posted this on our Facebook page, there was a whole tweet thing happening right before this trade got announced, but somebody tweeted that Stephon Diggs was not that valuable to the team. And he tweeted back with something to the effect of, "We'll see." The next thing you know, he's out of there. So
and maybe we will see. Maybe, I mean, obviously, at this point, I have to go look back and look at my mock. I forget who I had Buffalo taken with their first round pick, but I would venture to guess now that it'll be a wide receiver. So Khalil Shakir will now be their number one receiver. And he had a great season last year as their number two. So now everybody moves up a slot. They'll probably draft a receiver high and they'll go that way. The thing is, sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not good for the team, if the organization feels like you're more of a burden than the money that we're paying you, they're going to let you go. And that seems to be the case here. Let's face it. He was acting up on the sidelines quite a few times. You know, he's had a few falling outs. And the end of the season, he really cooled off. I don't know if he wasn't getting open or if they were just like not going to him like they used to. But like the last 4 or 5 games of the season, his production fell off tremendously.
That was mentioned. Yeah. So. All right. Stephon, we'll have to keep an eye out on that offense here. Then I happened to take a look at Club Shay Shay with Ocho Cinco talking to my man Brandon Ayuk. And this is the funny thing. Ocho's just blowing his head up with, "You need to be getting like the top dollar receiver money."
Okay.
I mean, top dollar. And when I looked at, who was making the top dollars in it, and especially on our team, he would be well paid beyond Debo, which I don't see. And it was kind of like making me think that he might wind up not coming back. But I don't know what his value on the open market is. Needless to say, I don't want him to go anywhere. I want him to stay. I want the synergy to remain that we have. And I think we can go from there. But it was just interesting hearing Ocho blow somebody's head up, throwing out numbers and stuff like that, and then I'm listening to reporting on this, and Ayuk was careful not to say anything in particular saying, "I'm going to stay, I'm going to go," or anything like that. He's like, "I just want to get what I'm worth. But at one point, he would say, "Well, you know how it goes." And he did like this across the screen.
Right.
That was silent. I haven't heard that in anybody's report. So unless he wants to do something that's somewhat friendly to the team, I'm just saying it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if we don't have Ayuk next year. And especially in a draft that's pretty deep in receivers, I do believe. So
yeah, it is. It is. I haven't heard him make any demands about money. I believe he's already under contract, right?
yeah. I think he's got
Okay.
that final year. They want to extend it or whatever. But
Okay.
you know how these guys get on their final year. Sometimes they don't show, and and all that kind of stuff. That's when the histrionics begin.
Final year of a rookie deal.
Yeah.
Usually, when guys in their final year, that's when they really go hard.
Well, I think he believes he's already shown his worth, and so he thinks that he should be getting.
What's making you say that, though?
Huh?
I haven't heard a discouraging word about Ayuk at all.
No,
from anybody.
No, and this is what I said to you earlier. Everything, even that he said on the show, was so generic. That the most he said was, "I want to get what I'm worth." Now you can't you know,
Everybody says that.
that's what I'm saying. So you can't really get anything from that.
Right. That's why I'm not.
What was not said was this, with the fingers walking across the screen.
Right. When it's time for me to get what I'm worth, if I don't get what I'm worth, I'll probably walk. I'll be a free agent and I'll test the waters. That's what everybody does. That's normal.
But he's not saying that, and it's not being reported like that. So because they're not talking about that little piece of the report. So that's why all I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if he's not there. That's why I said that.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I'm hoping. I'm with you. I'm hoping. So all right, there we go.